Today's special guest, we got Miles Ross, ex-pro player for Diginatus, and award-winning commentator. And he's been a commentator for over 8 years, I believe.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, long time. Basically a decade. And he's been, a long-time colleague. He's been, a big supporter of myself and of my previous Team Reciprocity. I think you actually casted some of that in 2019, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, lost that.
And so you've had a huge career. So I'm super excited for you to take the time to join us here. And now he's an all-star from Call of Duty League. So it's pretty awesome to see your journey. Has been pretty astounding. So I wanted to, talk about things that we can share, like our passion for Halo. We both kind of came up through the HCS, love that scene. Talk about esports, like, the state of where Call of Duty is, your thoughts on where it's going to go, where the league is going to go, kind of the ups and downs of that, a little bit on the franchising stuff. And again, just starting off with, I love your origin story. You started as a ex-pro player for Diginatus, and you were living in Australia. You were out of esports, and then you got the call to pull you back in.
I really was out. I was completely unplugged, disconnected. I moved to Sydney in 2010 and didn't take a console with me, didn't take any gaming, anything with me. I said goodbye to my friends, said goodbye to my teammates. I said goodbye to the industry. And somehow it found a way to pull me back in, which I know very few people that get a second chance like that, to sort of come back into the space. Prior to leaving, I was, as you said, professional player. I played for Team Dignitas, the first.
Dignitas, I'm saying it wrong over here.
It's a wild name, and also it's a wild meaning for a period of time as well. But yeah, we were the first console team that played Halo with them, which was really, really exciting. It was the first. I'll never forget the moment I gave.
Can you get roasted in the comments there?
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. But man, I'll never forget the first time I gave the contract to my parents and said, "Guys, I'm about to sign a contract to join like a pro gaming team. Can you help me with this? I will make sure we're not getting, am I getting rolled here?" And it was fascinating, and it was very, very cool because at the time, there wasn't a huge amount of money in games.
Right.
There was, you got given a jersey, some peripherals if you needed them, which we didn't as a console team. We had our controllers. The only thing we could ever ask for were, actually, could you get us some Astro headphones, like those, like the mix amp and everything? That would be a game changer. That was the extent of it. So it was so exciting as kids, and I mean kids, like late teens, early 20s, to sign on to this kind of thing and to take it to the next level. Because we were just, we were just fans carrying Xboxes and CRT TVs, kids, across country to LAN and to play for tiny prize pool money. I mean, tiny. My first tournament, I placed that second place. I think I got £50.
Whoa! You could pay for dinner, maybe.
I was lucky to pay for dinner. It didn't cover board, travel, any of the costs of being out and about. It was nuts, man. But we've come a long way.
And I think you had said it was your first kind of big casting break was with Strong Side.
Yeah.
So how did you go from Halo, which, with all due respect, love Halo, but then you jump from that over time to one of the tier one esports with COD? Like how did that happen?
So I received the phone call, and I'll never forget it. It was I think it was actually technically an email, but Glenn Elliott at the time, he was the owner of EGL, which was one of the tournament organizers that were running things in the UK and in Europe, and I was a part of that scene. And he said, "Do you have a suit? You're my guy. I'd love to have you on the team for this. I've got a really exciting new property. I can't tell you what it is yet. I've got a great team, and I would love for you to round it out." And I just thought to myself, look, man, I've been out of the game for a while now. It was about 5 years. I hadn't touched games, commentated anything at all. I had some experience as a commentator. I'd done it for him in the past. But again, very grassroots, not very professional. Some of it's up on the internet. I implore no one to look for it. But it was a lot of fun and it was cool. And when I got given the opportunity to come back in, I thought, hey man, I've got to do it. I have to take this. I'm going to get a free ticket back to London to see my family. And I know that the studio location was quite close to home. So I thought, all right, we'll take it. Little did I know that my coworkers would be Strongside, one of the most legendary Halo players of all time, and a really good dude, which was wonderful, alongside Wonderboy and Sims, who old friends, really, really old friends,
I
still
love
around.
Sims.
Yeah,
Sims
man,
was
Rich,
great.
he's great. Old pals, really old pals from competing days, from Halo 2, 3, even a bit of Reach.
I gave fun fact. I gave Sims his big first break with, I think it was 2015 HCS Indianapolis.
No way.
Yeah, 343. They came to me and they said, "Listen, we'd I know it's a little bit extra outside of the budget, but would you be willing to consider, bringing him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that'd be great." I always was a big fan. Maybe it's the accent, same with yourself. Like, you Sims, like you guys are so charismatic, and you have such a great voice. um I'm sad to see Sims is I don't think he's no longer in esports, right? I think he stepped out of it, but
He has, I think he happily stepped out. He's,
yeah,
I think cryptocurrency is treating him really well, so
yeah,
he's definitely diverting more of his attention there. But
yeah.
it was Puckett's level 50 LAN not too long
Mm.
ago. He got to get back on the mic, and there was a kind of a sense of glee and some real love for the community when he did get back on that mic. And I jumped into a Discord call with a few other friends,
Well,
old friends from the scene, and we got to listen to Rich do it again. And it was so lovely to hear his sort of Simsisms, a couple of lines which just hit so hard and was so fun to listen to. And he still got it. Rich still has it. There's no doubt in my mind if he jumped back in there, there'd be a week or two where he just wouldn't feel himself. But it was great to listen to. Yeah, Rich is he still is a really good dude. No, I got a lot of love for him, and it was a cool event to work. It was the four of us, and it was so nice to join that team at the time because Strongside, day zero, had not done anything like this before whatsoever. He came in a suit and he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, that's cool, man. No matter what happens up there, I've got your back. And I need you to be you because you are a genius, a Halo brain. And I'm going to lean on that and I'll make sure that we get from A to B. And you are going to just fill that space with as much cool information and call out things that you like or don't like. Just tell me what's going on, and I will get us home no matter what, Mike. And he did, and it was really good. He had a few years after that of commentary work, which was really cool.
and so so you were basically primarily Halo. How, when you were called up to do Call of Duty, is that must have been a little bit stressful? Like, are you, to kind of get caught up in that, are you watching like old broadcasts, like seeing kind of lingo, like you're having to basically read like a Bible of material to kind of get, like, were you nervous like that? I would be super nervous doing that.
I told him no. I honestly said no when it first came to me.
Yeah.
I was at the Halo World Champs, the first one. We were out in Hollywood, and it was a dream come true for me. I mean, literally, like the game that I grew up playing, the game that I competed in, I dreamt about, really was so cool. It was so cool. So to get that moment, and then to have them say, "Do you want to do Activision?" Coming being saying, "Do you want to do COD?" I was like, "No." It would be a disservice to real COD fans and to this sort of like growing Halo scene that's re-emerging in the form of Halo 5. And I knew that was, it was only going to get bigger from there. And I was excited for that. I was really, really excited for that. So initially I was like, are you sure I'm your guy? And at the time, the sort of talent manager, his name was Andrew Drake. He's still around in his own way. He runs Bad Moon Talent. He said,
Okay.
he's like, I don't care if you know anything. You don't have to know anything. I just need you to go up there. I need you to have fun. And I need you to bring energy to the broadcast, to your energy to the broadcast. I'm here for you. I'm not here for what you know. I just want you to have fun up there. And to his credit, I mean, I was very honest. I said, dude, I don't know what a scump is. I don't know anything about Optic. I don't know anything about story. I don't know anything about the teams. I couldn't tell you anything about this COD comp scene whatsoever. And he was like, I trust
But
you
he
to figure
believed.
Yeah, he was like, I trust you to figure that out. I want you to go up there and do what you do. I was like, all right, got it, man. I'll do that. And I'm still here. So thanks, mate.
Wow. That's I mean, huge testament to him and believing in you, but also a huge testament to your ability. Cause like that's trial by fire. Like you're put in the situation of like, this is it. And it's a huge opportunity. And the stakes are so much, I would say are a lot greater than what your previous, experience or opportunity was before that. So did that, are you how is this structured? Are you a full, like, do you work for Activision, or are you contracted out through the tournament operator who's running the league, or how is that relationship like?
So that at this moment in time, and for the vast majority of my career as a commentator, and for most other commentators in the world, you are contracted, whether it's on an event by event basis or a seasonal basis. I mean, the COD League and the COD World League at the time, I was essentially, start of season, first event, second event, whatever, up until champs. I was on a contract that fulfilled that entire period of time, and that's pretty much it. For a 2-year period, though, I was an Activision employee, which was really interesting, and I learned a lot, and it was wonderful to sort of get on the inside a little bit. Not that I could do much or had too many responsibilities within that space, but it was really interesting to be involved in the creation of some microtransaction items like around the league, and things like that. It was so cool, and it was wonderful to get a peek behind the curtain, because social media is pretty loud about what we should do and we shouldn't do, and what's right and wrong about everything, which is totally fine. It's why we have it. But it was very, very cool to be a part of that, and still some lifelong friends, and essentially, it helped for all intents and purposes. It got me my son. The healthcare that Activision and Blizzard provided, living in the US, really, really helped. So I've got a kid now. So thanks, COD. I suppose.
That was 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago. Yeah, I was laid off I was let go with the sort of Microsoft merger. They were trimming up a lot of people within the company, and I sort of fell into that. And I thought to myself, hey, this was it was a blessing in disguise. We ran this as long as we could, and I kind of knew it had an expiry date. And when it hit, I thought, well, look, I'm not surprised. And I remember saying to the team, guys, I'm sorry, can't expense any more team dinners. That's not that's a thing that's gone now. So that was heartbreak for all of us,
right?
But within 6 minutes of that meeting, of being told by my manager at the time and told by HR, hey, this is it, this is what's going to happen, you're done. 6 to 7 minutes, I was a contractor for the league immediately.
Wow!
And it kind of blindsided the folks at Activision as well, because we had a lot of responsibilities with the COD pod and other.
That's a little dirty, actually. I actually like. I don't. Well, thank God that you were employed right away. But that's a little. That's a way to avoid some benefits and other things. That's kind of dirty, but
it didn't feel great at the time. It definitely came from pretty high up, and I thought, look,
it's like Microsoft. Yeah, it's like Microsoft. They lay off like 9,000-10,000 people and immediately apply for Lima and all sorts of stuff. Dirty tricks of the big corps. But hey, at least they signed you right away, so that's good. And so you mentioned, so you have a baby boy. So how has that changed your life? Like that must be, that's a whole new thing brought into your life. So how are you managing that?
I am managing it. That's one way to put it. I think the best way to sort of, in gaming terms, I have dropped a full ranked league in COD.
There you go.
I mean, it was in Cold War, it was Masters in league play, and then from there on out, it was like top rank, give or take. I was never in the top 250, but I'd always be like high up there. Crimson now. I'm in Crimson, which is still the top 3% of players, so I can't complain.
Right,
that's where it is.
That's funny, dude. It's such a. We're at that age now. Like I remember playing Halo, talking shit to guys my age, and being like, "What are you doing playing games?" And it's like I'm that guy now. I'm like, oh.
I am that guy. I still feel good when especially I stream and I play ranked play with I did this year with my co-commentator Chance, and when folks talk trash, which they should, it's the way it goes. They'll talk that trash, and I'll kind of be like, fella, I'm 36, and you got whipped by a dad. I'm on 4 hours of sleep, and I just took you down. How does that make you feel? Versus, just stay, go back home, Unc, go to bed. I'm like, dude, I just won. How you can't go pro now? You cannot go pro. You lost to a commentator and a father who's in his late 30s.
Do you play on your main account? Or do you play on oh man, so everybody so that's interesting that you play on your main account. So do you get a lot of flack? Like, are people messaging you quite frequently? Like, yo, yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Some of it's like, hey man, love your work. Some guys will just hit the voice chat and say a line back to me, like some old line. Some guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember saying, Who Wants Tacos in CWL Anaheim 2018. I'm like, brother, how do you remember that? That's incredible. That sort of thing happens. But there's also dudes who are like, I hate you, Miles. I hate you so much. Get on the fucking hill. And I'm like, he's kind of right. That you get both. You get both. There was a fun period of time when I was an Activision employee. I had the ATVI clan tag, and it like sticks out and it's really bright in game, and people would see that and it would do all sorts of things. It would like kind of deter folks who might have been cheating. I'd get told like, "Oh, you're not bad for a dev," and I'd say, "I'm actually not a dev. I'm just the janitor," which was this like long running joke. Like,
did you?
I don't do anything. I'm just here.
Did Activision do anything cool with that? Like if they beat, because remember in Halo, or I guess this is really dating myself now. Holy shit! Back in like Halo 3, when if you played the Bungie team and you beat them, you got the Flaming Skull helmet or the Recon helmet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did they do anything like that in COD? If you got
so.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh man, I love that. I
love that as well. I really, really love that. I love when, I know that Unishek, who's the community manager of Halo, when he goes out and plays, they'll have these community event days where if you play them, you get a unique calling card. It's a special unicorn or something, and it's only something you can get applied to your account because you came across them in a game.
Is that not so cool? Like that's such a rare.
Cool.
Very cool. I love that. I love any like. I'm a big geek when it comes to like Diablo, like Path of Exile. So any like unique skin that makes your character stand out, like is a huge chase item. So that's very cool to do that.
It's also such a. I feel like it helps bring. We all have such a sense of ownership over games. I feel like I own a part of Halo because it's been in my life forever.
Literally,
I know many other people do. The same with COD. And I've seen so many people with COD tattoos, Halo tattoos. Like it becomes a part of their life. So to have a little piece of the game that was special for you, I think does make it all the more important, all the more powerful. I have a story from 2008, the Metal Gear Online World Championships. This is a weird one. Not a lot of folks know this, but there is. I made a vlog of the thing. I found all this footage. I've reconnected with the community for a really, really long time. But the cool thing about that tournament was when you qualified for it, there were 2 teams from each region. So I was part of the Team Europe section. You were given a skin that only you had. It was the uniform that we were given as our actual jerseys that we wore to the event. That was applied to our character models as well, and it was a 1-of-1 Miles's jersey that I had on my character, and it was like it was a light blue with these big yellow circles, this interconnected thing. It was the Metal Gear 4 branding. And that was very, very cool. So when I could see my character wearing the exact same piece of clothing that I owned in the real world, or I was given by Konami at the time, that just blew my mind. And the kid who won the free-for-all, a young Japanese player, I forget his name, he had his face scanned into the game and put on his character model. Literally 1-of-1, he's in the game. And I just love that. And this is back in 2008. The winning team of that event were immortalized in the first DLC for that game in the form of a portrait, like an old medieval style portrait where they're all standing up above a fireplace in sort of suits and, old military attire. I love that. I mean, not only did you win the tournament, but you've been immortalized in the game forever. And the servers are off, but whatever. Amazing thing. So cool.
I love that. Pokemon does like for the actual like card game championships, like if you win, you get like a special card that's only unique to that tournament circuit and stuff like that too. That's so cool that they did that, man. I wonder like if that game, too bad it's not like a like a Counter-Strike or something where it lives on and that skin would be worth
you could sell the skin almost.
Yeah.
We've been in talks with some folks internally at Activision to try to create more unique sort of items for players, like for pro players. The idea that within the top 250 leaderboard, if one of our pros or even the commentary team or the analyst or even Puckett as the host, if they make it to top 250, their photograph is in game with a unique
that's cool
placard. And I've seen mine. I know what it looks like. Not that I'm getting top 250, but Study, my co-commentator, he has made it. And there was a spelling error in his name, which he got fixed, but he's in there. And I just think that is so cool. And all of our pros are, with all their accolades, with their victories, champs victory, they've got the picture of the trophy with them. That sense of ownership and identity within the game, I think, is just so cool. Really cool.
Let's talk about a little bit about so going back to our love. I know we've been talking about it already, but our love for Halo. What what are you hoping for? Because Halo's had, let's be honest, and again, this isn't shade. This is just objectively the reality. But Halo's had a rocky road, and it's definitely had a rocky road since the transition from Bungie to 343. I really was hoping that Infinite was going to be infinite, like that this was going to be the Halo that we were going to be playing for the next 10 years maybe. But it just it had a rough live service content update, and a lot of the community kind of fell off. But what as we know, they're working on the next Halo. There's all rumors that they're using like the Unreal Engine. What do you kind of hope for the future of Halo, as like not necessarily esports, but just like the game itself? Is there like some features or things that you hope?
I think what I'm really hoping for, and again, I know nothing. I got no insider scoops, nothing. I just hope that it stays true to its Halo identity. And I think identity is a really sort of loose term that's getting thrown around in gaming right now. I want
Right.
to pick it up and play it for the first time and go, "This is Halo. There is shields, familiar sounds, that arena style combat. I want that to be. I don't want them to try to make their own COD or try to
Right.
cater to another audience. Forget that. Like, you're here
Go
because
back to the roots.
you want to play a Halo game. You want to, whether it's got the elements of Reach or whether it's kind of stripped down and really bare bones like Halo Combat Evolved or Halo 2 or even 3 to a degree. That for me is the most important thing. I want to pick it up, I want to smell it, I want to feel it and go, this is Halo. This is exactly not the way I remember it, but this is what makes Halo a great game. It's that moment to moment action. It's semi-predictable arena gameplay that really rewards teamwork, rewards strategy. That for me is key. I don't want it to feel like anything else.
I think, I mean, I'm biased, and I'm totally on board with sticking to the golden formula of kind of what made Halo stand out, which was, I would say, the perfected formula was the Halo 3. Although I wish they would bring back some of those skilled, like BXR. Yeah, that
career off of the BXR, yeah.
yeah, I was joking to Tashi about that. Of like, it'd be really cool if instead of it being a glitch, it was an actual intentional button combos that could add another ceiling for pro players. I think that would be really cool to have. But yeah, I think sticking to that formula, not chasing trends, I think is super important. And I think the saving grace, and I don't ultimately know, and this is no insider track, but I honestly think that because the brand has been damaged, I think that if it can be released on PlayStation as well, which it looks like it probably will be, that could maybe give it the boost to help rejuvenate it, because it's been a brand that has lost a lot of trust, and it's everybody knows it's probably one of the most famous IPs out there. So I think like people want it to win, but I think if they can make it across PlayStation as well, that could help give it, because that exclusivity also hurt it, right? Because like as COD was cross-platform, kept building every year on that momentum of that community, Halo was being siloed. So that cross-platform is going to be super critical to build that community, and then the team has to just buckle up. Like there's no excuse to have 5 maps for a year. Like there's no excuse for that. And like Forge is great. I love Forge, but using that as an scapegoat to like, oh, make your own maps. It's like, guys, like this, we should be shipping with like, why don't we have midship? Why don't we have, like all these maps right out of the Guardian, like all these maps right out of the gate.
Just throw them in. If this is going to be the Halo game for a long time, just get them in there. You're right. I do love the idea of Forge. I love the idea of players.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch the creativity and allowing somebody who, this might be complete fluff, but I'm pretty sure that the fella who made Onslaught and maybe Amplified back in Halo 3, maybe Casey. I know the guy now. I'm not sure if it led to him making that map and finding employment within the games industry because somebody found this and was like, wow, this is really, really great. We love the way you've made this.
I hope that's true, man.
I hope that's true as well.
I hope that's true.
I'll send him a text.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That tool is so important, I think, for the game's longevity and for the community involvement. And again, this like sense of ownership. I'm building something, putting it in the game, and other people can share that. The file share system was revolutionary for that. Screenshots or maps or whatever. That was so cool. You could
remember all those jump maps? You'd load those jump maps, try to get to the end. It was so hard.
Like race courses and jump maps and like the first zombies maps.
Yeah.
My God, it was so good. I think Halo will find its legs, and I keep thinking about this with Black Ops 7 as well. That will be the first COD for somebody. That'll be the first COD for many, many, many people.
Right.
What kind of experience are they getting? Are they diving into this thing that's 20 plus years old, or are they diving into something brand new? Are they going to get the same kind of experience that we got when we first played Halo? Is that going to be the case with the new game? And that's sort of why I think it shouldn't chase trends. It should be its own thing, because I do want it to carve its own path back into the gaming world out of it, because I think Halo still has so much to offer. I think it's an amazing, amazing franchise. I love it to death. And I think it's still got so much space to grow. I think there's so many stories in that space. There's so many gameplay opportunities in that space, and I want it to flourish.
Is there anything? This will be kind of like the close off the Halo bit, but is there anything that you would like the HCS to look at from the CDL perspective to maybe learn from or integrate into their potential future HCS programs? Or
I think everything that I love about the CDL, I feel like HCS is already doing custom, well, like not custom, but team skins being in the game. That integration of the game studio and the esports scene being as connected as possible, I think is really cool. And I think what the HCS and advantage it does have over the traditional COD world is, I love the relegation system. I love the open bracket that anyone, that you and I, Chad, at some point in time, we pick up another two guys, we run through.
Let's go.
The open bracket, we make pro, and then we're playing in the big leagues. That is the most pure esports thing in the world for me, that you can do it at home, that you can fight your way through a bracket and make it happen. That's my biggest sort of what if of the COD League is, if it wasn't franchised, if those teams weren't safe, or if those players weren't safe, how much more exciting would it be? I think the story of relegation is so exciting. I believe in a true meritocracy. I think the best should be at the top. I think if you do fall short, you should pay the price for that, which is relegation to a lower league, whether it's challengers, whether it's the open bracket, whatever it may be. I look at the story of, I'm recently watching Welcome to Wrexham, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney show, and watching the journey of a low-ranked team climbing the ladder slowly but surely, and the trials and tribulations that come with that are so exciting and so interesting. Esports has that in it, but the open bracket allows for that to happen. So American franchising is I get why it works, I get why people love it, but you're missing the drama, you're missing the pain.
So in terms of regarding the skins, so you think that Halo should have Nicki Minaj and Runner?
I don't know about that, but although Nicki might look quite cool in some Mjolnir armor, but you'd never know, true. Would you? You'd never know, because she'd be in that suit.
That's funny. So Black Ops 7 is right around the corner. It's coming out November 14th, right?
Yeah. I think it's 13th or 14th. I should know that.
Yeah. And then there's an open beta and early access. So is the early access one of those things where, like, if you pre-order the game, you get it? That's the typical thing?
There's always some kind of promotional thing. I think if you buy a can of Monster, you might get a code. There are so many different ways. If you're at Gamescom and you went to the Mueller Milk booth, you got a code there as well. There's so many different ways to get in there. But yeah, pre-orders are definitely the number one drive.
So walk me through a little bit about, and I'm not a Call of Duty expert by any means. So walk me through what is going to be like exciting about this. So I've seen Scump, Scump, everyone's saying, which is, I know probably they say it every time, but everyone's like, this is it. Like this, COD's back.
I don't know what I can say. I can say, because a lot of this is
it NDA stuff too? Yeah.
It's a little bit. Yeah. And it's also just my personal experience with the game, which is still an early version, technically. So, I mean, all I could definitely say is you sort of know what you're getting with COD every year.
Right.
You're getting COD. And that comes with its caveats, its ups and downs, personal preference, whatever you want to play for. I think this is the first COD ever to really give every facet of a Call of Duty player, whether you're a multiplayer guy, whether you're a campaign player, whether you like zombies, whether you want to play Warzone, I think, everything. This is the first time where it is truly integrated across the board, and there is something for everyone. And not only is there something for everyone, there is a lot for everyone. There is a huge amount of content in this game. That is what I think makes Black Ops 7 a terrifying benchmark for everyone else involved, where, now studios go, damn, we've got to meet this much stuff. And this is out of the gate. So there's a global progression system, whereby if we play campaign together, we're ranking up our characters, and we're ranking up our weapons. We're working towards camos, different attachments, all sorts of things that we can then use in every other mode that we play. So there is a true sense of no matter what game mode you are playing, you are progressing. And the progression is not just sort of the typical 1 to 55 plus prestige systems. Now, across each weapon, weapons have got their own prestiges now. You can unlock individual attachments, like specialized attachments at the prestige level. There is a camo at some prestige levels. There is just so much to do in this game, which is an amazing thing for the collectionists and for the people who just want something to grind for. This is their game. And for that reason alone, I mean, I've not even touched upon how good Black Ops 7 feels and how fun the gameplay actually is. But the volume of stuff you can do is really, really amazing.
And it looks like there's like wall jump or like wall bounce back. Is that's not like, when's the last time that was last?
Infinite Warfare.
Wow.
Infinite Warfare was the last time there was any kind of wall assisted gameplay.
What is the sentiment around that in terms of like from the pro community? Do they like that, or do they? Because I think that's cool, but I don't know from a pro player if they like that or not.
I think it's a cool thing for pro players in the same way that as a Halo player, you get the ability to express yourself more. You can find some creative expression, whether it's a button glitch or whether it's, just the way you move your left stick. This is another, avenue or another tool in the sandbox in your arsenal to play with and to create expression. And man, from what I've seen in a very, very short space of time, without giving anything away, it's going to be a shitload of expression this year.
Yeah, I mean the game looks solid. I think it was last year, and correct me, fact check me if I'm wrong, but I think that like the last COD, it broke records in terms of sales or something to that effect.
Every year. I think it
does every year.
No matter what anyone says or thinks, it always does. Which again, like, is social media real? Does this reflect? Does it reflect reality in any way? I don't know, man. The sales are still good, but this one, I think there's a lot going on at the moment, and there's a lot of concern about like the success of Battlefield or the perceived success of Battlefield. But at the end of the day, like the what I've seen anyway, the pre-order numbers are still there for COD, and in many cases are better than Battlefield. So I'm like, what do I believe? Do I believe in millions of like loud, crazy voices on social media telling me that they're going to only play that, or do I think, what would I do as a gamer? I'm gonna play both. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna hit those betas hard, which I will and have, and I'm gonna, buy both games if I can. That's what I would do as a gamer.
Yeah, I sometimes that the whole tribalism stuff is sometimes silly, because I'm always of the mindset of like, I'm going to play all of the games that I want to play. So if there's, so at the end of the day, it's like, I'm playing what I want. I don't, if they're both existing, that's great. I'm going to play both of them. So regarding the CDL, and again, whatever you can share and whatever's NDA, that's all cool. But let's talk a little bit about the CDL. How, when I was with Team Reciprocity, we were going after the franchise model. At that time, franchise fees were, anywhere between 20 and 50 million. We were going after,
I've heard a lot.
Yeah, we were going after the Las Vegas. That's why we had, Rec in Vegas. Like, we were naive, like, yeah, we're going to get Vegas. And then, we're in the meeting, and they're like, yeah, we're not selling, not just to you, we're not selling to anybody, Vegas. We think that this is a premium spot, and as the league grows, we think that we can sell this for 100 million. And I was like, wow, okay, well, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then so fast forward, esports in general has kind of had a not just singling COD out, just esports in general has kind of had some rough patches, and the team owners, they refunded a bunch of the funding or the purchase price of the franchises, which is great. And it's more of, would you describe it as kind of like a Rainbow Six? Like it's a closed like pro league. Like it's no longer, because it's not really a franchise league anymore, is it? Or
actually, a really good question. I don't know the details of that, but it does come across that way, whereby if you've
I think you own like a pro league spot now, and it's no longer, because it's not
your cash back. You don't own anything anymore. There's no like an owners meeting. Well, I don't own anything.
I do think I do think that they own like the pro league spot, but I'm not sure. Besides, I think just whatever the rev share terms are, it's no longer this generational asset of like, we're buying this for 20 million and in 10 years it's going to be worth 100, or whatever number. But I think like my frustration with that whole process was like, I totally get it. Like I understand, I can see the board meeting. I understand what they were going for. I was just being an operator in the space. It was clear to me that they were really heavily selling some blue sky, and had they dialed back expectations and instead of charging $30 million and put these huge pressures, I think if it's just like, hey, these franchise fees are going to be 2 million, and have some like really strong kind of player salary caps out of the gate. And I think things would have maybe played out a little bit better. But when you have that high of that amount of money, your expectations and your window to deliver is very short, and you're put in a position where you have to it's do or die. So do you have any insight at all of like where you see the league potentially going over the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? And or if you can't share anything due to NDAs, whatever, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think honestly, man, I think the league is trending in the right direction, and I think whatever deal was struck to give cash back to the owners, they're still making something from the microtransaction, which I understand for some teams is great, and it's not the teams you think it is. Really interestingly, I think it's trending in the right direction. Activision still provides a huge amount of support. They still, I think they still help. There is a supplement or there is a kind of a grant on events, so you don't just run the whole event yourself. There are some things I'd like to see done differently, but I ultimately believe that the league does have legs, and as long as there is an interest, as long as there is a thirst for this, which there still is. I mean, our community is super passionate, and the raging enthusiasm around the, even like the rumored events where this year has been so good and so exciting. I mean, my phone has been on fire with people like, can you confirm this? How can I get tickets? Dude, let's go to this country and hang out again. I'm like, whoa. I don't know if it's happened yet until I get the contract saying, hey, Mars, you're going to be this, these are your events. I don't know yet. But the rumors are exciting. And I think just that so many years into this thing now, despite social media, despite criticism, despite COVID and everything that went through, it's still here and it's still going, and people still want to come to the shows, and they still want to know the stories of who the best players and teams are. It's there. There is an appetite for it. And as long as there's an appetite, it's going to be here. I really think it's going to be around. And for that reason alone, 3 to 5 years, I think it's as long as I've got in this, but we'll see.
It's interesting because, and if you have any insight onto this, please share. So I think in 2024, viewership dropped around like 30%. And then it had a huge resurgence in 2025. Do you know like what was there, like what changes happened? What enabled that huge spike? If you have any insight.
I think so. That was the jump from MW3 to Black Ops 6. I think.
Yes.
I mean, I know that the excitement around the COD League being back on Twitch was massive, like huge for the community perspective.
Was there like watch parties enabled? Like
100%.
Okay, so then maybe
a lot of watch parties certainly help. And I think on YouTube as well, the VOD numbers are exceptional, which is not something that we really get on Twitch. The VOD system is just not really there, which again would be great. But YouTube's numbers are so good for that reason alone. I think that sort of account, maybe not the live viewership, but I know which is totally fine. I also think that another major concern, not concern, but another like contributing factor to the viewership climbs, Optic's success, and the story of that team in general, going from 2 years in a row now to absolute tragedy, 12th place, bottom of the barrel, not very good, to winning events, to winning a champs, back-to-back champs. Now we're just sort of watching to see how far these guys can keep going. They've rolled the dice with some insane team changes. There is so many good stories around that roster and what's going on right now. People just want to know. And we might have these insane spikes throughout the year. whether you're tuning in to watch them because you want to see them lose, because you want to see them win, whatever it may be. I think there is so much interest there. And again, that's not just because of the nature of the league. That's also kudos to the team and the work that they do to sell those stories. COD has always needed, and one of the things it's always had is great stories surrounding players. And it's something that the orgs can do a really good job of. You guys did a good job of reciprocity. But never forget Shawnee and the boys out in the desert being Jedis. It was great, so man. Good. It was great fun. But that sort of thing really helps. And I think some teams do it a lot better than others. And I think, to this day, I still maintain COD needs its own drive to survive. Because fuck me, man, we have got some really good personalities in this space. It is the one thing that all the other esports are like, damn, man, I wish we had players like that. I wish we had personalities like that. COD has got it in spades. I want to know.
Why do you think that is? Do you think because it is, you are right. I think, is it, I mean, this is maybe a horrible analogy, but is COD kind of like, maybe more of like it's more of a mainstream, like if you were to compare it to sports, like it's more of like a jock sport than some of these maybe more
the sort of niche esports that are still, like, nothing to take away from their competitive integrity or the merit there, because they're amazing games. There's sort of the difference between like the NBA and chess. Chess might be a more impressive game from its structure, but the NBA is cool, and I think and that mainstream appeal is definitely there. And I think COD has always had, it is still a cultural phenomenon. Every single taxi, Uber, or car I've ever been in my entire life, someone has known COD. If we say, what are you guys in town for? COD. I used to play COD. I used to be really good. No, you didn't, dude. But okay, don't worry about it. But it's still a cultural phenomenon, yeah.
It's so it's just they haven't. I think part of the problem with COD is that it can't, probably due to the violence or whatever, but they can't break into East Asia. Like I think, because COD is really popular in North America, Europe, but I don't know if it has any presence in China. And I could be wrong. I could be talking out of my ass. I don't know.
I know it has had. There have been some China-centric COD games that have only been there. I know that Chris Evans is on the cover of a COD game, which I never heard of. But it's in China only. I think there is an audience there, but it's definitely not as big as homegrown, endemic Chinese games, which definitely take the precedent there. I know for a period of time, Japan had a huge COD scene. Really
interesting.
There was some great teams that came across in the COD World League days, and those kids were good. They were really good. I remember watching matches in Cold War. The city of New York, one of the player names, stuck with me forever. Those guys were good. They weren't necessarily, the best, but there was a scene there, and these players were passionate and fervorous as European and North American players. They wanted to compete, they wanted to play. I don't know if they're not having access to a league or not having access to a place to play kind of kills that. But I'm sure those players are still out there. I mean, the numbers have got to be there somewhere. Japan.
Yeah, East Asia is its own world. Like there's games like this is going back to reciprocity days, but like Crossfire. And it's like I barely heard it. Like I'm like, Crossfire, what's all this about? And then you start digging into it, and you're like, this is dwarfing majority of all North American esports. What the hell? They were years ahead of really pushing esports, and they were building like little, I guess you would say, towns that are just dedicated to gaming. It was when I went over there, and we formed a partnership for a Crossfire franchise. Actually, we ended up getting one, but it was like it was my first time going to China, and it was like literally a whole new world. I was like, wow. Yeah, it was a great experience. What do you think is like in at least North American in Europe, what do you think are some like the biggest pain points in esports right now?
I think it's the cultural perspective still to this day. I think it's changing, but it's taken a couple of hits. It's had its moment here or there, but we don't view esports players as athletes yet. And I say athletes loosely. I think in, like you said, Southeast Asia, I think in Korea in particular, South Korea, StarCraft players are heralded as celebrities because of their skill and their ability in the game. Whether or not they're great personalities or good ambassadors for anything, I don't know. But I think with COD and with Western esports, our players could be those things. We do celebrate athletes for their skill and their ability and their physical prowess or whatever it may be, but esports players are amazing at what they do. Truly, truly amazing. Like, if you ever get to speak to Magnus Carlsen about chess, or see him on another podcast, or see him in an interview, he's an amazing person, and what he does at that level is so fucking impressive. We should herald these people and sort of revere them for their ability, and we should look at that as something to strive for, in that sense of brilliance. And I think there's a struggle at the moment in the world. We don't exactly see people who are good at things in a positive way always. You get called a sweat online. I'm like, this guy's a sweat. I'm like, yeah, no shit, I'm a sweat. I want to win. I want to be good at this. When a team comes at you in Warzone, you're like, oh, they're sweats. You've already resigned yourself to loss. You've already put yourself beneath them. You've already submitted to their effort and their desire to win. What the fuck are you doing then? Why are you here? Fucking do something else. I just think there's so much in wanting to be good at something, wanting to be great, wanting to see people who are brilliant at it. And I think that cultural shift has sort of happened. I want that shit to change. I think trying hard and putting in effort is fucking cool. It's really fucking cool. And I wish that other people did as well.
That's my cat in the background, folks. Sorry about that.
My dog's here as well. Just like that.
Yeah, my cat is so loud. Yeah, I can't. And there's nothing I can do. If I put him in a room, he'll just scream even louder. So I just have to he's the boss of the house, unfortunately. And
that's quite all right, mate.
Yeah,
quite all right. Yeah. But I think that there is so much in accepting that people are good at shit and loving it. I mean, I love watching. I forgot the term now, but like competency porn or something. It's a whole genre of video on YouTube watching people do things really, really well. Really well. And I'm like, damn, the time it took to do that, the thought process, the skill, the intuition, whatever the hell it is, that shit is amazing. And I just love watching people do things well. Yeah.
Well, my fear is, I shouldn't say my fear. My observation is that because of the tremendous amount of effort that was put into the franchising model, and because it didn't quite hit their expectations, that and then how gaming and viewership online also evolved in parallel. Like, events got shut down, everyone's stuck in their homes, and esports went from kind of the top watch gaming content to like IRL stuff started to emerge. And you started to have these influencers who are pulling in massive viewership with next to no overhead compared to these huge complex leagues that are so demanding and moving parts, and hundreds of employees to put together. And it's just kind of like, well, we can maybe pay or work with some of these influencers to drive engagement, and it's easier to manage that versus the putting on the league. I guess where I'm going with this is, I could potentially see, I'm not saying esports is going anywhere, because it's not, but I could see it potentially being dialed back a little bit and maybe viewed more as continued experiential marketing. And like something like, let's say with like the HCS, I would bet money that they're probably not going to, for the next Halo game, do as of robust program as they did. I think they did that because esports, they were competing with, like, COD was coming out with their franchising. Esports was like at its peak. What's going to happen is esports going to take off, and then that didn't quite happen. But also Halo, from a brand perspective, took a major hit because it didn't resonate with fans. They didn't have the content. And then they doubled down on that from, I think, a community sentiment to be like, well, okay, we kind of missed the mark here, but we're not just gonna like, pull the Band-Aid off. We're gonna double down a little bit on the HCS to keep goodwill within the community. So my guess is, at least for something like Halo, is that you're still going to have the HCS, but it's going to be dialed back. It's not going to be as robust. And I do actually hope that if that is the case, and I'm just like reading between the lines of like Toshi's title is now something to the effect of like director of competitive engagement, and like getting away from the esports word and just trying to drive more engagement in the game. It's like, which is completely fine. I think they'll still have the HCS program, but it would be great to see if they're going to pivot a bit, to see like online tournaments that they support for if they have let's say like a battle royale. I'm not specifically saying I want that, but if they come out with a new mode and experimenting, kind of going back to, if you remember Halo 4, the Halo, I think it was like the Halo Global Championship thing that they did. It was like a weird, wacky thing where you had to play games inside the game to qualify, and then you went to these little local lands to get points, and then Ace ended up winning it. But
I remember that, yeah.
But
that ease of access for players to find them and get involved in it is huge.
I think like if they're gonna start to look at esports more and putting more kind of KPIs on like how are we converting this to improve, daily active users, monthly active users, all of this, that could be an interesting mechanism of like you could still do $25,000-$50,000 tournaments. You could do those a lot more, and just have them in game. The HCS community is probably going to hate me for saying that. I'm just speaking out loud of like.
I think you're right there, Joe. I think there is something about eliminating as many barriers and as many of those overhead costs, which are huge. Yeah. Running events is exceptionally expensive, especially now. Well, I mean, it only seems to be getting worse. If you have it in game, that sounds like a no-brainer. Once you figure out, a robust anti-cheat system and all that sort of stuff, you still have
you have to invest in that.
You have to invest in that, and then even if players do win, there's always that thing in the back of our heads. And I think that epidemic of cheating in video games,
which is insane.
It's insane. It's killed this idea that, again, if you're good at something, we should be able to celebrate that. We can't now because everything is possibly, that corruption is in the back of my head. The demons of the warp are spitting like, maybe he's cheating, maybe he's seen through the walls. I'm like, maybe he was actually good.
They need to just, what they need to do is they just need to hire some people from the CIA to come out and be like, okay, make this impenetrable. Like, what do we do? Hire Elon Musk to come in and
get some like. Was it a white hat hacker to come in and just like first break it, and then we'll pay you, $1 million a year to make this shit rocking? Like,
I don't know. Like, it's affecting community sentiment. Like, it's worth investing in. I don't know. I'm not a developer, so I'm speaking ignorantly from it. But at least from like a high level community sentiment, it's worth investing in to figure this shit out. And there's no excuse. There's no excuse for it. Like, just invest the money in it. So jumping to another kind of like evolution of gaming, do you think that the consoles that when do you think the consoles will end? Do you think that they'll continue to just make consoles, or is it eventually just going to be like PC master race?
I totally think you're on that track for sure.
Yeah.
To your point about, your earlier point about Halo potentially coming to PlayStation. I mean, the console wars has been and gone. Exclusivity is soon going to be a thing of the past. Sorry if you can hear that. There is something happening outside.
It's all right.
The console wars might not be over. That might have been a push by Sony.
Right.
But I think we will get to a point where, those platforms might be owned by Sony, might be owned by Microsoft, might be owned by Nintendo. But I do think there'll be a cloud-based gaming system whereby you interface with it however you do that, whether it's through a PC, whether it's through your phone, whatever, and you're playing AAA level games on an insane piece of hardware somewhere else. And we do end up living on a planet covered in server farms, more so now than ever. I do think that'll be the case eventually. I don't know how far away that is, but I can see a future where that's a reality. Yeah.
Do you think I see like, I've been playing Borderlands. I'm having a fun time with it, but there's also, there's community sentiment that are saying, oh, it's not performing from a tech standard as it should be. And then kind of segueing that into the actual question that I want to ask of like the price of Grand Theft Auto. Do you think that that's going to be $100 game or more? And then my follow-up question is, does that matter? Like, does I understand like the community is like super divided of like the game should only ever cost, whatever it is, in Canada, it's like, I think $70 or whatever, this is what it should be. And it's like, what I'm so confused about personally is everything around us has had skyrocketing inflation. And for some reason, games have always stayed this price. And then nowhere in life can you go and spend $70 for 500 hours of entertainment.
No,
literally nowhere. You go to the movies, you're spending $60. Like $25 a ticket plus snacks and like. So
for 2 hours and then maybe 30 minutes on the drive home talking about the movie.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So I don't. Now that said, you don't have to go out and buy every single game. You buy like if it's $100. But this is the game that I want to play, and this is going to give me countless hours. Like I don't have an issue with that personally. I get the nuance of, oh, it's $100, but it's like an MVP and it's still like paywalled, all of that. I totally am on sane with that. But that's, that Grand Theft Auto is going to be an amazing, immersive, massive game.
Yeah. In a weird way, I get why, because they've created this reputation for themselves. They've created this almost like it's like a diva. You know what the diva's going to give you, but the diva costs a lot of money. She's Mariah Carey's going to charge you a premium, but she's going to deliver whatever she delivers. It's probably a bad example of being a diva, but you that point of you're getting so much out of it. I can also think of game titles like I play a lot of Helldivers 2, relatively small studio, tiny studio technically. From Sweden, Arrowhead. That was not a AAA title by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely didn't pay a full price for it. I have got over 400 hours happily. Wow. And now my Xbox friends are also getting involved. I'm looking at 200 more easily before I have to, have an intervention. Yeah. But it's so weird that, I didn't necessarily pay top dollar for it, but I've invested. It has given me so much back. So much back. It's hard to tell. And that is a weird, magical side of gaming. You don't know what you're going to get. How much did we pay for Halo 1, 2, 3? How many years?
Dude, I bought Halo
of our life did we give to it? And still kind of give to it. I don't think Infinite cost anything, did it? Infinite was a free game.
It was
you could
free.
Pay for the campaign.
Yes, the multiplayer was free. The campaign was was paid. Yeah.
I think it's a win with GTA. They can sort of charge what they want because they're GTA, and you know what you're getting.
You know that you're going to get a premium product. Yeah.
But unlike movies and most TV shows and any other entertainment and property, sometimes you get a game and you pay your money, you take a day off work, and day one it doesn't work. It doesn't. There are some technical issues, or there are some bugs, or it just doesn't run on your PC or whatever. That is another killer. So I would worry about that with Grand Theft Auto. I don't think I have to because, Rockstar do a great job. But there have been times in the past where I've been super burnt, super burnt by that.
Same. I mean, I'll call out a game specifically. I think it was by BioWare, a game called Anthem. I was hyped.
Yeah.
I was so hyped for this game. It looked gorgeous. It looked too good to be true. And it was too good to be true. And then it just didn't work, and then they just pulled the plug on it. So there's that. Now that's definitely coming from investors of putting a lot of pressure on the model, which isn't just unique to gaming. It's software. It's so many other industries as well. As like just push a MVP, get those sales, and then fix it later. And I hate going back to the 360 era. Like you would buy Oblivion, you'd buy whatever, any of these games like Halo 3, you plug it in, it works out of the box. The servers aren't crashing day one. There's 500,000 people searching in Team Slayer. Like, wow, isn't that crazy? We have file share, we have what's it called, where you record and watch the game back. Theater, like you have, oh my God, theater, you have all these things out of the gate working day one.
Day one. And working.
Yeah, that's why
saying that now seems crazy.
Yeah, why?
Games, I mean, thinking of No Man's Sky had a very tumultuous launch. Some CODs, day one, there are issues. Don't get me wrong, there's huge swathes of people who are working, 24-hour shifts to try to fix it because people are pissed, and rightfully so. But if I went to the movie theater and the projector dies, you best believe we're screaming to get it turned back on. We've paid our money. We are the paying customers, and that's kind of how it works. But gaming burns us differently, man.
You get gaslit. So here's the thing. Immediately, I can hear a dev like, but it's more complicated now because it's all these different consoles and there's all these different tech. It's like, okay, I can appreciate that, but I'll just say one word. What about Elden Ring? Elden Ring was, I don't know, bigger than Skyrim, and launched day one flawless, and it was probably one of the best games in the last 10 years. And it worked day one, just like an old old school game, had a small budget, small team, and delivered, a product that, some of these major studios are still, that are massively ballooned. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe that is the issue. It's like old Twitter before Elon took over. It's just like there's like, people, filming what I do today at work, and it's just like eating lunch and snacking all day. And somehow they're getting paid. So who knows? Maybe the balloon is definitely, and too many chefs in the kitchen is a problem. But okay, so we're coming up to an hour here. I'll let you go, but a couple fun quick questions.
Yeah.
Have you seen Superman? The new Superman?
I've seen James Gunn's Superman. Yes.
Okay, what's your thoughts?
What I liked about it, it had a really different feel to nearly every superhero flick I've seen for the last 15-ish years. It sort of reminded me of 2008's Iron Man, the first big MCU film, and I really enjoyed that fun, it felt unique take on these characters who we have seen on the screen and in comic books for a really, really long time. I'm not going to pretend to be a Superman expert. I know very, very little about the Superman property, more of a Batman guy. But that film, I was engaged the whole time. I thought it was fun. I didn't love Lex Luthor or any of his sort of henchmen, the engineer, why she did that backflip thing when she could have just turned around. Whatever, man. The CG budget was rocking. And I thought everyone did a good job. I thought ultimately everyone, played their parts well. I don't know if I loved it, though. I had a lot of fun. I will definitely watch whatever sequels come from it. I also do no idea how that version of Superman is supposed to interact with Robert Pattinson's Batman in any way, shape, or form. That seems impossible to me.
Yep. So I can, as the comic book nerd, I can share some light there. So, and the fact that you said that is exactly the problem. Yeah. So the Robert Pattinson's Batman and the Penguin and all the massive, expansive universe that they're building out there is actually going to be separate. Got it. So it's not going to be crossed over at all, which exactly 100%, because it's a very grounded, trying to be realistic. Yeah. But that means that James Gunn is going to, which he will, is going to be casting a new Batman, and he's going to have the whole extended Bat family, which I'm not a big fan of, but whatever. He's going to have a new Batman and all these characters. And to what you just said, I'm like, that is going to be a little bit confusing for the the normies who aren't like these comic book fans. Of like, why do we have two different Batmans? What's is Ben Affleck still Batman?
I liked Ben Affleck's Batman. That scene,
I liked him.
That scene in Batman versus Superman. I think it was it Mark?
Yes,
Frank
the
Miller's,
best.
Frank Miller's Batmans are some of my favorites of all time. God, that scene in the warehouse, I was like, that's my Batman. Don't get me wrong, love Nolan's Batman work. That was great. But that was my Batman. That was my comic book Batman, who was fucking terrifying and terrifying monster.
That is the true, like the 90s animated, that's like the Batman Arkham games. That is the cartoon fiction Batman finally on silver screen. That scene was phenomenal. I agree with that.
So big and frightening. He face through the ground. It's like, that dude's dead. Batman, that guy's fucking dead, man. That's game over.
It was
good. It was very good. Some of that was great. I didn't love the whole thing, but it is what it is. But I think the Superman, it was exciting to see something really fresh. I think really, really fresh. See how sort of like childish almost Superman was.
It was super goofy. It didn't take itself serious. It didn't do any origin stories. You just get thrown into it.
Yeah.
So my hot take on it is I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I still think the Man of Steel is my favorite Superman, and it's not about like this legacy. I just think from the score with Hans Zimmer, the dad, like the casting, the dad interaction, which I think is they kind of messed up in my opinion on the James Gunn version. But I see where James Gunn is going. It's in line with kind of like Peacemaker. It's the boys kind of humor. It's lighthearted, and I'm at the end of the day I'm going to watch the future films. Totally. and
Peacemaker as well.
I love Peacemaker, and in terms of like the dark gritty that usually separates DC, you're still going to get that with Matt Reeves' Batman universe.
Very, very excited for that as well.
Yeah.
Right on,
so But well, thank you so much, Miles, for coming out and taking the time to chat esports gaming and nerd shit. So I appreciate that, man.
Mate, loved it. Really, really did. I can't wait. I'm going to pick your brain more about comic book stuff because I know you're the guy to talk
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Well, listen, man. I'll let you get back to it, but thanks for coming out, and I'll be watching you on the CDL, man.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers.